Hey Rob, we are live, and I think Rob is
Just in time.
coming in from a cruise ship this time, or it looks like you're piloting something.
I know, right? It's yeah, new technology. It's great. It's fantastic. I love it. What keeps us all going, right? It's
Right. Well, we
oof.
said when we started doing this, or I said that a lot of it was to try new things and have fun and pretend
You know
that
what?
we really know what we're
Trial.
doing and have
Nope.
the it's no problem to make mistakes.
Oh, trust me, yeah, we're gonna be making mistakes for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's
We
it. I think that's it. Like if there's anything that I can say about how we have come along in our business, it's through making mistakes. So
that's
there's
You have to, yeah, exactly. You make a mistake and find a way to get around it and fix it and make it okay, and then you avoid it next time. That's how I got started in real estate photography.
exactly, and I broke my first rule today. My first rule is always don't try anything new on a shoot or on a job that matters, right? And so here I am. I wish I could show you guys what's going on. I've got this entire rig set up here where I've got my lights all set up. I've got I actually have I had my so I had. We're going to be talking about our topic, of course, today is going to be talking about how to get through a place in like 15 minutes. And so to do that, I thought, all right, wouldn't it be cool if we had like a downward angle shot? I've got my piece of paper, I've got my crayons, and I could just write everything down. So I actually have this camera mounted above me, pointing down at my paper. Got all the cables going, everything was connected, and then for some reason, I couldn't get my camera to connect. And so we're going to be doing this half-assed with me taking my main rig camera and switching it up to the dolly that I've got up here, and then switching back and forth. And while I do that, I'm gonna make sure that you don't see me and you get to see Ron's beautiful face the entire time, just so that you don't see my dad bod gut right in center of screen all the time. Hope that's all
Did,
right.
did have we told people out loud that we just do these things off the cuff? We do plan a little bit, like we'll say let's talk about this, but we don't do any kind of detailed planning. And this is proof, right?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. This is yeah, we're coming from all over the world here for you, and
Hey,
we will.
and hey, just real quick, since we're just at the beginning, we're not gonna dilly dally too much for questions and answers, but while we let some people join, I see there's a few people on watching now. Please let us know. Oh, so Audrey says sound is great, thank you. So, we have a common problem where I come in really quiet and Rob comes on correctly leveled, and we thought we had it fixed, and it turns out there's only one way to tell is that you guys tell us that are watching because we sound good to each other. So please let us know if
Yeah.
we need to change something. So thank you, Audrey Byers, or Todd. Looks like it's a dual. Okay.
So I keep
um,
on looking up this way because that's where my monitor is, and that's where I can actually see everybody and see all the comments. Typically, it'd
well,
be right behind the
yeah,
camera, but
yeah. While we're at it, I went to a DSLR instead of a webcam this time, so now it looks like I'm looking away when my SLR's looking at me, right, the one big eye right there, and
right?
because I wanted to start using that, just like you're doing something new. I've gotten as far as using a DSLR now for video. That's about it.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, it's tough getting all the settings all right. And I've got like I said, we were just through this on the fly. I gave my kids a bunch of screen time on their iPads, and I said, "Go, don't talk to
yep,
me for two
yep.
hours." And so far, they've been pretty good.
It's gonna have to be another room.
But yeah, but setting up in like in 20 minutes in my dining room, you can see I've obviously made some mistakes. You can see the light reflecting in the picture frame there. You can see that I'm a little bit overshot, but whatever.
Rookie. I don't know. My color's off too. I don't know. That's okay. Well, they're not here to look at us.
Exactly. Well,
um, but we, so we brought. I brought a topic to us that keeps coming up, and it's kind of come up here before, because Rob, humble brags a little bit about shooting a house in a short time, and
yeah.
so I was talking about it with others, and I thought let's make that a topic. So we'll start off with that, and then of
I
course
agree.
anybody that's watching, we're here for live Q&A. So we're going to answer to the best of our ability. Other people can chime in. Other people can even join live if you have the cojones by
Yeah.
using the link that I just added in the chat on both YouTube and Facebook, I believe. You can pop in and ask questions and go back and forth, because one of the things about live is that we're not just going to read a question and go with our answers, because we might not have the same experiences and situations. We might want to ask follow up, like, well, we can answer better if you tell us how you're doing such and such. So we can go back and forth, a little conversation. It's always fun.
Yeah.
But it looks like we have some people on, and
Great. Oh, you got 10
commenting
centimeters.
now.
4 inches of snow in Montana today. Okay, well, that would explain why you're on.
Some 365 days of surfing. Oh, nice. Well, really? If you're doing a lot of real estate jobs and surfing every day, man, you have the life.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
Looks like we're sounding all right. Thank you. Sounds good.
And it seems like
well,
we always get this, don't we? We always get the gear question. And so, you know what? Let's just take a quick 5 minutes to talk about gear.
Okay.
And I've changed my mind, quite frankly. Over the years, I've been saying, get a full frame, get your 16 to 35, and you're pretty much golden. Or get the 12 to 24, 24 105, and 100 to 400. And with that, you got a range of 12 mil all the way to 100 mil, and that's or 400 mil, and that's on a full frame camera. And I've been saying that for years, simply because you get into places, and with when you're shooting for realtors, the issue that they have is that everything goes on to MLS, and on MLS, everything has to be in a landscape format. And that means I don't care if you're shooting a chandelier, an entryway that has a 20-foot ceiling, you can't shoot it vertical, because as soon as you shoot it vertical, it makes the picture really small on MLS. And so what do? We shoot it wider, say at around a 14 mil, shoot a little bit up, get everything into the frame, and then we fix the verticals. And so it looks like we're shooting from a lot farther away, but we got everything, and the sides really don't matter, because what we're focusing on is in the middle. And I've come to
what Rob just described, just to avoid the follow-up question, is that is a fake tilt shift. So do I need a tilt shift lens? He just did it. He just did it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we've stopped saying tilt shift. I think every time we've had a tilt shift question, we've just said no, don't bother. Get something wider, and then
because you can do it that way. You can do it another way. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with the megapixels that these cameras are coming out with right now. And side note, God, did you see the release? Canon just discounted the 5 DSLR, which used to be a $3,800 or $3,900 camera, down to 14 on Canon's website.
1,400.
Yeah, 1,400. Like, there's $2,500 off, and that's a 50 megapixel camera. So you can get a 50 megapixel camera now for like $1,400. So
wow.
And
50 megapixels is, I mean, the sensor is the full frame size. It's not medium. It's not the same size as a medium format sensor, but 50 megapixels is where medium format starts, isn't it?
It is. And so I've been using the Canon 5 DSLR ever since it came out, because that thing is fantastic. And I've been shooting stuff where they'll take like a living room shot and then blow it up to the entire side of a building. And you can see every single detail. You can see every single grain of dust that's on the table. Like, it's ridiculous.
Okay, what do you think about those? I'm sending you a softball. What do you think about those billboards I drive by? Billboard, and it says shot with iPhone 10.
Oh yeah, no, you can definitely do it. Like, the difference between a billboard and a side of a building is that on the side of a building, you're actually walking right next to it. A billboard, to see it, you have to be 20, 30 feet away. And so at 20 to 30 feet away,
I'd say several hundred feet, because you're usually going to be on the, I'm thinking of a freeway where it's probably several hundred feet. Yeah. Well,
so at that point,
the quote unquote pixels, or the dots they print with, are about like that big.
Yeah. So essentially you only need like a 16 DPI. Or whatever it is.
Something like that. Yeah.
I think the ratio was
16 maybe. Yeah, maybe. I'm
one
not sure.
there's an inch per foot calculation, and you'll have to ask your printers about that. But it's like for every foot that you're away, you need
Yeah,
one pixel per inch or something like that.
yeah. Viewing distance. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. So it's just like, when people ask you, it's like, oh, well, I'm going to put this on the social media. How high res can you send it to me? It's like, well, you don't need high res for social media. Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
just need something really small, like
A lot
72
like
DPI and 10,
similar to
1080.
similar to real estate. We got our surfer. Um,
Hmm.
is talking about moving from an 80D to a 90D, and I mean, my answer would be only if you have some problem, some reason to,
Yeah,
because the for real estate shooting, for what you need to deliver, no, I mean the ADD. I was answering questions from a guy had a Nikon D200 that I was
yeah,
so excited that I could finally invest in one in about 2000 and what 7
yeah, somewhere
something like
back
that.
then. Yeah,
And so, but it's fine. Like it's perfectly good. It's a good camera. Just because there are new ones, doesn't mean that the camera is no longer a good camera. Surfer, if you have a problem with the ADD, by all means, but yeah, getting a used something or other, and the
it's
R5, the new stuff, there's great gadgetry, there's great improvements and everything, but do you need it? It depends.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and
and that's exactly like we've got like I've got a Canon 7D which came out in 2008.
70, some,
Yeah,
it,
and we still use that for our training purposes. And when you look at the photos that come out of that and compare it to what we're doing now with the 6D Mark II or the RP or the R, you really can't tell any difference when when you crop it down to that size. Of course, full frame, full size, yes, an 18 megapixel camera versus a 24, 26, or 50 megapixel camera is going to have a huge difference. But it's more in the processing, it's more in your editing that you're going to see a lot of the differences, and it's also more going to be in what your lenses are like that you're going to see more,
thanks.
more issues.
I was just gonna say is the camera body, frankly, not that it's the same, but cameras and lenses, with whatever you have, you need to find a workflow that makes no one realize no one even should even ask what kind of camera you're using, because you'll just adjust the workflow for it.
Yeah,
Before we go on to any other subject, I just want to say the last thing for me anyway is for Surfer and everybody else. We're in a business where we have cameras for business, but most of us, I think, are kind of into photography for other reasons. Even if it's just to make your
hmm,
kids. Oh, let's just think of something that's completely hypothetical. My kid's karate class. Of course,
completely
I'm gonna.
hypothetical.
That's what somebody told me. Like, oh, you're not just another dad with an iPhone. I'm like, no. I mean, I took time um, to raise up a notch the photography that I was just out with, because it was a quarantine outside in a park martial arts class.
Hmm.
It's awesome, So, and they look cool. They have like fans as a weapon and stuff. It's gorgeous. So,
Nice.
anyway, you're going to use your camera for other things. So maybe you do. Maybe that's the thing that bumps you up to getting that new. I think he was talking about Sony or something, but or a
Yeah,
newer Canon.
or
But
the R5. Yeah, no,
yeah,
definitely.
you don't have to just use it for work. So, uh,
Yeah.
good gadget. It's a good excuse. Good excuse.
Exactly.
Um,
And so getting back to my tangent, like I was saying before, I stopped saying get the 12 to 24s and 24 105, 100, 400 on a full frame. And the reason for it is because the nature of our business is changing, and it is changing fast. Holy. We're going more from just photos to people wanting photos and videos,
yeah,
because right now, let's face it, any realtor can go out there and shoot a photo on their iPhone, and they can shoot a great video on their iPhone, and especially with the iPhone 12 Pro coming out now. Oh my God, did you see the sample videos out of that? Thing is amazing. And so now realtors are going to be like, well, hey, I could do this on my iPhone. And unless you can step it up and say, no, I can do it better on my camera, you're going to be in trouble. And so one of the things that we've started looking at and investing in is changing out our gear from the entire Canon full frame series lineup. And I'm looking at right now switching over to the Fuji. Like, I've always loved Fuji cameras, but I'm changing it up to the Fuji X-T4 lineup. And there's two reasons for this. Number one is 26 megapixels now. They just came out with a new 10 to 24, which is exactly a 16 to 35. So we would actually only be shooting with one lens. It's going to be tougher to do those tight closets and tight powder rooms and tight entryways. But I still think that the amount that we're sacrificing for that is not going to be as bad as the amount that we're going to be gaining from the fact that we've now got one system that can do image stabilized video and do amazing photos as well.
Right.
So we've got one rig that could do both, and with a new battery, it's great. By the way, I'm not sponsored by Fuji at all. I would love some if Fuji would kick me some money here, but it's not. I'm not getting anything. I'll settle for a candy bar. But we're not getting.
We have no nothing like that about cameras or gear or anything like that.
No, we don't. We really don't. And
in fact, that's one of the things I like talking about all the different kinds of gear, because between the two of us and a couple others that have joined us here before, we represent a lot of different. I mean, you have Fuji and Canon, I have Nikon and Olympus, so that's already four.
Mm-hmm.
so we're doing good.
Yeah, and so one of the reasons that we were always going for full frame was because you're a professional. Well, right now, professional. You can be professional with a crop sensor, and people really wouldn't know because the technology, the information out there about cameras is going so fast, so far that really people can't keep up. So if you're shooting with a Fuji X-T4 on the site, people will ask you, like, well, what are you shooting? You say Fuji. And most people give you this blank look and then they walk away. So it's it really doesn't matter that much anymore.
Let me ask you this: is the intention to take one Fuji? Okay, you'll have a backup in the car, but do you take one camera, do the still shots, then switch probably? Well, you don't even have to switch a lens if you have a 16, or do you need to go like?
That's exactly it.
Okay,
so it's
so you have one camera, one lens for almost everything.
Yeah. So for shooting from photos, shoot photos on a tripod, get your flashes going, and then you can use your continuous lighting and I really want to get my hands on that new Ronin what is it, RS2 that just came out. That looks great. Doing the 360 barrel rolls on that thing, that looks fantastic. I would love to do that. Just going through a hallway and doing like this 360 barrel roll all the way from the front entry all the way into the living room. Like that's going to be such a cool thing to do.
We'll have to talk videos one of these times when I get some experience doing it. That'll be coming up. Hey, Ron Mitchell, recommend a non-full frame Canon body for real estate. Before you go, I think just about anyone used, even like we were talking about earlier, is you should be fine with any within the last 10 years or even more camera. Get a lens that works and you're off to the races, I think, right?
Yeah. The nice thing with so getting back to this, I was talking to another guy about this, and he said, why wouldn't you use a full frame camera for video? And here's something interesting. When you look at the depth of field of a full frame camera versus a crop sensor, you actually have more pixels in focus on a crop sensor at a lower f-stop. All right.
Yes, correct.
I wonder if okay. So essentially what that means is, you see how blurry my background is here. Okay, this is shot at f2 on a crop sensor. Now an f2 on a full frame sensor would make the background even more blurry.
And a lot of photographers want the more blurred background. That's very important in portraits. It's very important in a lot of things. But in real estate, it's the other way around. So you have an advantage with a crop sensor so that you have less of that. Yeah. And
exactly.
It also goes for zooming. Like if you use your same camera and you have a 200 millimeter zoom, that's now a 300 or so. Depending on the camera, that's more zoom. So there, as always, there are advantages and disadvantages to each. So let me tell you, the disadvantage to the crop sensor for real estate, though, is that zooming. So if you have the 10 to 20 millimeter lens on a Canon, that's 16 millimeters to
Yeah.
whatever. So
So it's harder to get the wider.
in real estate, you want the wide. You very often want the wide shot. That's really common. That's why we all use 10, 12, or 14 millimeter lenses at their widest. So that's something to consider is when you're getting a crop sensor camera, get something like that 10 to 20 on the Canon is a great lens, been around forever, probably
Hmm.
available used. It's a good sharp lens, and its distortion is very minor, and the distortion these days can be fixed in software so well that that would be my recommendation as a non-Canon shooter, but a guy that has worked with a lot of people with a lot of different cameras.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. So especially if you want to if you want to get started really inexpensively or replace something inexpensively, then for what it's
Yeah.
worth, that's my advice. That's my advice.
Exactly. So, yeah, like my advice right now is if you're into this business and you want to do photography, great. I would recommend you also start looking into real estate video and try and maximize your gear to be able to do both video and photos going forward. So even if you're not even going to be doing photo or videos yet for the next year, and you're looking at buying gear right now, think about, just start asking the question, is this going to be a good camera for video? Because sooner or later, your clients are going to start asking for it and you're going to have to provide it. And so you might as well start investing in it now.
Yeah.
So if you got anyone out there wanting to get the R5 or R6, Canon R5, R6 just came out, shipping soon. Those ones, yeah, definitely. Those would be great. The R5 is going to be fantastic with its,
What's
45 or 46 megapixel sensor.
What's the price tag on that?
It's it's a couple months rent. Let's put it that way.
And how much can you get a
The XT, the
80D
Fuji
or a
for?
90D for?
Oh God,
A couple hundred?
80 or 90? Like I think they're hovering around the 1,000 mark or just under.
Well, that much.
And yeah, and then Fuji's just come out with their S10, which is going to be under $1,000 US, which is fantastic. So
There
you
are
don't,
tons of options out there. That's
yeah.
whenever we get into gear conversations, it's that so many cameras, again, within 10 years or more, are so good. And in real estate, you don't have to have the best, newest thing. Of course, it's nice to have. There's a lot of gadgetry that goes with it, like
Hmm.
like you can wireless shoot from your phone, for instance, which is helpful in real estate to help
Yep.
you to help compose a space, to help you when you move stuff or when I move stuff around. I can see in there what's going to be, and you can get into corners. So there's gadgetry that's great, but you just don't have to do that. So if you're trying to get started, you can go get a used
Hmm.
90D or something and just get the right lens
Yeah.
and make sure that with after you factor in the sensor size or the sensor type and all that it's wide enough, something in the range of 12, 14, 16 at the most, right? I would say my 14 millimeter, sometimes I feel like I wish I could get just a little wider, but that's because I've been a San Francisco guy where every spaces are all small. So just take
Hmm.
that into account. Something like 14, give or take, would be what I
Yeah.
would do. But let's hey like we can do and thanks guys for commenting and asking questions. This is great. Keep doing it. We should get to the promised topic, and we can come back. If nothing else, I have questions for Rob about video, and we have plenty to talk about. But and we could do this really quickly too. I did kind of a tease
I
about
like that.
what's that?
Do you guys have any crazy stories from a real estate shoot?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Let's wrap that in.
Yeah,
Let's
we'll get that to later. So you're right.
what
I think we should get into the crux of our discussion here.
Yeah, I don't know if you. I mean, I have. Okay, I said, can you shoot a space? How can you shoot a space in 15 minutes or a house in 15 minutes? And I'll I'll take a little bit away and say it depends on a lot of things. Obviously, like is the place ready,
Eh,
and are
yes.
people around? So there's no guarantees here, but
No. So
when it happens, do you want to start with a couple of advice items for that, or would you like me to start?
yeah,
You
you
can
know what?
fill
I'm
in.
gonna So like I was saying at the very beginning, I didn't get my two cameras set up, so it's not an easy push of a button. I'm actually going to be switching cameras around right now. So
Okay.
bear with me while I do this,
Okay.
and
Or
it'll be
you
all
did
good.
that.
You'll be actually be able to see the disaster of my dining room right now. So we've got, you know, there's everyone here. You know, we got
Hey.
the light setups. We've got all that junk back there. We got, yes, those are Coca-Cola gummies because
And
every
chocolate.
good photographer needs sugar.
Keep some chocolate around. Oh, that was the mistake I made. Now all I have is coffee.
Oh no,
Hey,
man, you got it.
so while you get set up, I'll tell you a little bit where this question comes from. We whenever we get into a talk in real life or on a group, a Facebook group or something, and everyone's asking, "Hey, should I shoot with lighting? Should I shoot HDR and bracketing? Should I do a combination of them?" And so it kind of spawned with that. And I remember, um,
Oh, Ron, did you just cut out or did I cut out?
how about now?
Oh yeah, you're good now.
I think it was my user error. So I'm shooting a real estate years ago, but it was a virtual tour for this. I mean, it was I remember it was $13 million was the asking price for this mansion. So
Jeez.
the real estate people had me doing a virtual tour. They had flyovers with drones. They had all kinds of basic and creative shots done. And everything. And this while I was shooting, this guy comes in hustling up the driveway 'cause it's a long driveway. Just a little sweating. He's clearly just come from another job. He's carrying a tripod with a camera on it, and that's it. No bag, nothing. Camera, tripod. He probably had a remote. And he went around and he was done in what I thought was about 15 minutes. And this place was huge. Now, to be fair, this huge place in my memory was probably a little longer, but if you put it in a place that's normal size, he went through and shot this thing so fast because it was already perfectly ready. I was shooting 360s. Everything has to be set in place. You can't hide anything in 360s. So I noticed what he did, and then I looked at the results later, and he did the basic, bracketed everything, and then I've done it other times since then, where I would test myself and see if I could just do it fast. And so if you're doing a basic real estate shoot, you can put down your tripod, compose real quick, level it, which once you're doing that, sometimes it should just take a second, many times. And then I set my bracketing so wide that it covered more than what I was going to need. And what exact settings? Well, after you do it a few times, you can tell. Um, you set for like 9 stops or more of coverage of dynamic range, and then you'll capture brighter than the interior and darker than the exterior. And it takes a little bit more work afterward because you're going to have to cull out some of the unneeded ones. But once you've done it a couple of times, you set that camera down. You don't have to focus because you've set it to have infinity focus or hyperfocal distance.
Hyperfocal. Yeah.
Like another different subject. So everything's ready, and I have a remote on a wire. Put it down, level, kind of compose a little bit. Hopefully, it just takes a second. A lot of times, you're just doing it from the doorway, depending on bang, 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 bang. You hold that shutter down. It's done in a couple of seconds, a few seconds. Go to the next one. So
Exactly.
that can in a house that's a couple thousand square feet, 2,500 square feet or something like that, it's totally doable. Now, I'm not saying that you're doing the best, because for me, the first shot is hardly ever the best. I have a little bit of a process. I like to try a couple things and decide a little bit later and notice something afterward. But it can be done that way. And so many of us in real estate have just been using bracketing only for a long time that's all you need: camera, tripod, remote.
Pretty much.
On our talks, we talk about adding in a flash exposure for color, which is great. I have a sample we could go over later if you want, but if anybody wants. But it is totally possible. I'll throw it to you to tell us some stuff, and we can add in
Sure.
as we go.
So
I like this. This is the whiteboard.
this is if I had if I had my my iPad Air or something, I could actually just draw it all there. But instead, you get to see my lovely modeling hands. There we go. All right. And yeah, sorry, I fidget a lot, so I apologize for that. Okay, so one of the things that we need to start talking about when we look at spaces is trying to understand what a space is. And you know, with real estate, when you have photos, everyone's going to be on their phones, and essentially what they're doing is they're going swipe, 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 and that's how they look at photos. If that's the case, you want to make sure that all your photos are going to be conducive to that kind of action where people are swiping. And so when we start a shoot, we always say, okay, well, let's look at let's look at a house. And how do people want to see a house? You want to start with the exterior of the house first, and then you probably want to get into the entry, and you want to get into the kitchen next, and then dining and living.
And
So
yes,
once you want to get into all of those,
send us questions. Raul is asking on there. Send us questions. And
yes, we are.
Rob, Rob,
Definitely.
your focus is going in and out with your hands in the paper.
Yeah, so unfortunately, like I said, I did have my Canon set up for manual focus. This one here, because we're using the Fuji as a webcam, I don't know if the manual focus is actually going to work. Let's try this. All right, switch it to manual focus. No, see, yeah, I can't actually change my settings on this. All right, so bear with me. So we got the entry, the exterior entry, the kitchen, my handwriting atrocious, sorry, the dining room and living room. And on each one, you want to be looking at it saying, well, how many front exterior shots should there be before I'm into the entry? So you start to think about these things and you start thinking, well, how much should I show? What we usually say is, well, let's do one of the exterior, two of the entry, and say 6 of the kitchen to start off with. And then we can do, 3 of the dining, and then the living room is a little bit more important, so let's do 4. And once you figure out that, now you've essentially made yourself a shot list. You know what your clients are going to get. And because of that, you can go master bedroom, we're going to go 3. So second bed, we're going to go 2, third bed, 2, bathroom, 1, and maybe there's an ensuite, and maybe the ensuite gets 2, and it gets 2 images. But whatever it is, now you've got your shot list, and you can then say, all right, so for an average house, I'm going to give 1, 3, 9, 12, 16, 24, 26 photos. Okay. And you can make that a package.
What is an ensuite?
An ensuite where you have your master bathroom attached to your master bedroom.
Master bathroom attached to the master bedroom.
Yeah. So the bathroom that you go through the bedroom to get to.
Just sounds like a master bathroom to me.
Yeah, sorry, we Canadians call it an ensuite bathroom. We try and do that French thing.
Rob is in Canada, everybody.
Hello to all the other Canadians out there that are listening to me.
I'm trying to figure out how to put you on full screen while you can still hear me. So that's why these windows are popping back and forth, just in case anybody's wondering.
Oh, that's okay. So, all right. So now that we got a shot list, this is actually going to save you a lot of time, because one of the things that we find is that people take a lot of time doing the, oh, what should I shoot? What angles should I shoot? How much should I shoot? And photographers are always like, well, I want to give more than my competition. I want to give this. I want to give that. The thing is, the best thing that you can give to any client is consistency. So if you consistently give the same amount, you're not overshooting or undershooting at any particular time.
And keep those expectations set right.
Exactly. So you give the consistency. Now, how do we then further make consistency? Well, exterior shots, if you've got the exterior of a house, and if we've got an attached garage to it, this is from the Google view here. All right, so we've got the lot, we've got the driveway, we got the little path of stones going to here like that. Okay, we got the doghouse here, whatever. You can say, what are my standard shots for an exterior of a house? And if you already know what that is, say it's from here, that's one shot. And then you do a straight on shot from here to do that shot. I don't recommend this one here. And the only reason for that is you'll notice that from this angle, you may be cutting off a lot of the garage. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're getting the best shots, the hero shots, and always make sure you get the door. Okay. So if you've got those, then you know, all right, 1, 2. I can take 2 shots, but I should just deliver 1. And when you get back to the office, or get back to your office, your car, your home, wherever you're processing, and you send them 1, and they say, oh, shoot, I don't like that angle. Do you have another one? You can say, yeah, I got another one.
Right.
And they say, well, why didn't you send that? It's like, because my package only includes 1 exterior shot. And that's perfectly fine. Because what that does now is that it makes it so that you've got the shot, you don't have to go back, but you're also not over delivering on one shoot, because as soon as you do that, that's what they're going to expect every other shoot later.
Yeah, you're maintaining the value of what you're doing. That if you just stand up for yourself in a minor way like that and just say, well, this is what's included, then that goes a long way to avoiding too many requests and changes.
Exactly. And I've had clients that are like, well, you've already shot it. Why can't I have it? And you can use any excuse that you want. Well, I haven't processed it. This is only approved, so it's only a small JPEG of what the actual is going to be. You can just say, or you can just say, you know what? Because I don't want to go back and get it. Well, but you can't be an a-hole about it. You just have to say it nicely. All right. So let's go to the next one. Let's go to something like a kitchen. Now, kitchens are interesting because you usually have something like this where you've got your island, you've got your sink, and then you've got the wall of appliances back here. So you got your fridge here, you got your countertop, you got your cooktop here, and then here you usually have your dishwasher, and then you've got your bar stools, right? Okay. With these, again, once you have your shot list ready, you can say, well, what are my 6 shots? Well, in any space, actually, before I go into my red will be my camera angles. Pink here, this is an important part here. Take a look at the space. The space itself needs to be defined. So if you define this as your kitchen, I don't care if your dining room starts here and you've got and there are places that are like this where you've got your dining room table here, right? And you've seen those. As soon as you delineate where your kitchen space is, then you can start looking at it as one block. And we shoot these blocks based on the fact that, well, people are flipping through left, right, left, right? So the first shot you're going to want to show them is going to be the hero shot. So you might want to take it from here and do the hero shot this way. The next shot, it makes sense now. If this is the first shot, maybe this shot's going to be the second one. Or maybe it's going to be the one right here doing a straight on. Third shot over here. Because again, now when you're flipping through, it makes sense. It goes, oh, corner, straight, corner. That looks great. Where should your next shot be? Your next shot should probably be, if you're going in a circle, you could do a straight on shot here, going that way. You could do a shot from down here. Now, of course, we can't mirror these images down here because you got a fridge in the way here. All right, well, maybe we don't take a corner shot this way, but walk all the way over here, take a shot from here, and take it that way. And then to finish it off, maybe we take another straight on shot this way. There you go. Now you got 6 shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we were to delineate this a little bit differently and say, okay, now I want this island. The island is important, or this part is important. We can delineate it and say, this is my box here. All right, because this part here is important. If this section down here is important, we delineate that, and from this corner, we shoot there. From this corner, we shoot there. And now these two images will match. So when they're flipping through, it's like, oh, left side, right side. Got it. If we want to extend this box, we can extend it all the way out to here. And instead of this one, we grab the shot here and get the fridge in. All of these are based on what you think is going to be important and what the spaces are that you think your clients are going to be interested in. So are they going to be interested in looking at the kitchen as a full, or are they going to be interested as looking at the kitchen as this section back here? And are they going to look at the island as a separate one? And in this case, you know, if we delineate there, this shot here already is getting the island from that side. All we would need is to try and tuck yourself here to get a shot this way to, again, make another matched pair where you're going through. Now, so trick one for making sure that you get a place done right away is a shot list. Figure out what your shot list is going to be. Step two is understand where your shots are going to be taken from before you even get into a place. So you already know, hey, kitchen, I can take corners, I can take straight-ons. Understand that first before going in. You already have an idea of what you're going to be getting. Next thing is going to be this.
Yeah, good.
If you're shooting,
before you switch to the next one, I just wanted to include a couple of when I said send us our questions, you sent a lot of them. So my one comment I was going to say is, you can look at other people's real estate samples all day long and not learn how they got them, and you compared to watching what Rob was just showing, and you can rewind this later and look at it again, of course, you're getting, there's more helpful ideas and understanding comes from what he just showed you in a drawing with crayons than looking at other people's, and half of the courses I've seen out there, by the way, I'm not saying this very well. You'll get more out of that than just looking at other ones. So I want to make sure, if that was a little fast, go back later and because I understand, because I've been through the process, of course, what he's trying to say. And if you put a little bit of strategy behind it, you're going to get way more good shots more quickly. So Raul, did you pronounce it Raul, like Rahul? Pretty cool. Preparing for the first shoot, I mean, this is one helpful way of really understanding what you're going to do ahead of time. Also understanding that when you get to the actual place, it's going to have to shift for the unique place. No rule applies to every space. But he asked what's the right height for the camera, and that's a pretty, we could talk about it a lot, but I could make a quick recommendation is right around like a belly to chest level, depending on your height. Like I'm 6'2", I think I try to keep the camera around like a belly level, midsection level, because you really need to keep the camera level so that it's facing level, and it's going to avoid those problematic vertical lines that way. And there are times where you'd raise it and lower it, but that's the general rule of thumb. Angles, he's talking about angles a lot here. We'll let Rob's advice speak for itself, and composition too. Those are subjects you talk about on and on and on and on. You learn all the time, so there's no simple thing. But this is what we're talking about. So
let's get back to let's get to angles. Okay. And this is the third tip that I've got. The third tip is keep consistent in what you shoot and how you shoot. And so, for example, if you think about a kitchen and a dining room, you've got your dining room table. That's roughly around a 36-inch table, right? And then you've got your counter height here, which is usually around a 40-inch counter height. When you're shooting for these, if you have your camera set up roughly around here, say around 48 inches, you're going to be able to see everything that is on top of the table. You're going to see on top of here, and you're going to get a nice overall kind of look of the entire place. So you set it at 40. You set it around 48. You got your camera. You got your bounce flash on here. You got your tripod, and then you've got your 5'4" average height human being. I guess that's not average height, is it? but
In
it's
Canada,
where it's cold and we don't actually grow very high. Yeah. All right. It may be. But once you have that height set, it works out really well because now when you get back to here, well, guess what? You don't have to adjust your tripod height at all while you're going around. Now, here's the second thing. If you're shooting this at, say, a 19 mil here, you should be shooting at a 19 mil here and a 19 mil here, here, all the way around.
this is for consistency, yeah?
Exactly, because you're flipping through that foam, right? You don't want it to be a 19 mil here and then a 35 mil here, because all of a sudden, what's going to happen is going to be like, kitchen, whoa, zoomed in, kitchen. That one stands out, and what we don't want to have happen at any time is for anything to stand out, because
would you say what if it's like an extreme case, like a detail shot, where that since it's
you can do detail shot.
Something different. It's clearly something different, so that wouldn't be so as jarring, right? When you're
no. So if it is, what I would do is this. So for example, if you have humans are about patterns, and so you see here you got 5 Crayola crayons, right? And then all of a sudden, somebody comes by and does this. Does that still seem like it's in a pattern? Okay. It still seems like it's in a pattern. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crayons, and then boom, boom. Okay, we got flash, flash. All right, but all of a sudden, if I did this and threw a lens in it, there's no pattern anymore. You've lost the consistency. And so when you're flipping through, it's like, far away, close up, far away, close up, far away, close up. At an angle that's looking down on something, so that kind of screws people up. And the issue with that is you get it so that people start comparing, and they'll be like, well, I like the crayon better than the flash. The best way to do this is, if you do have details, is do all those room ones and then put the details at the end. So all of a sudden it's like, okay, room. And at the very end, it's like, oh, detail of the kitchen. Here's the detail of the range. Here's the detail of the fridge. Detail of the dishwasher. Detail of the tabs. Oh, look, there's the bathroom. There's the bathroom jacuzzi tub. Here's the bathroom tabs. Oh, look at that beautiful shower head in there. And so now you've got it so that it is, how do I put it? It's in an order. That makes sense. It's like when you go to the Apple store and you look at how they've organized everything on there. You've got your Macs, your Macs, and then your Mac's accessories afterwards. You don't go from like, here's your MacBook and here's a power adapter that you could buy. It would seem strange. You go and you put all the like things together, and then put all the other like things together, and then you categorize them and then put them out differently. So that is why I say
you're telling a story. So if for anybody, I know a lot of real estate photographers go into business not really thinking that they're a photographer exactly, or they don't come from a photography background. But one of the things there are a lot of things that are consistent through any kind of photography. And what Rob's saying is you tell a story. And so you're telling the story of the house, and that can be as artsy or as technical as you want, and you find your own way. But you'll find the patterns, and it always needs to be attractive to the people that are the viewer. That's what you're going for. Exactly.
And so I'm not saying don't take the 35 mil, but if you're taking the 35 mil, take the 19s, and then at the same time take the 35. But when you deliver it to your clients, and you've got this thing going here, then you put in the very bottom your details, and maybe you put in 5 images there, just so that now you've got that kind of consistency.
Okay.
All right.
Hey,
so
just added going. Sorry, keeping things everybody involved here.
Mm-hmm.
We can, guys, there's a couple questions that I'm not ignoring you. We'll hit a couple of these after, but I just wanted to let you know that we will do that. Let Rob, this is fantastic. This is Rob always brings gold whenever we talk, and this is great. So I want to let you continue, and we'll get to some of those dynamic range and flash questions soon. Okay.
Yes. And so actually that's a good segue into what's going on next. Now, if you look at this, tell me, Ron, you understand this. You say we've got a bright window right here, okay? A big window, and it's just shining all this light in. Beautiful light.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. When we're doing HDR, we can always take more. We can never take less.
You mean afterward you can dispose of the ones you don't need, but you can't create them, right?
Exactly. And the same with the HDR. If you're doing HDR, like I've been talking with this guy down in shoot, I'm trying to think of where he is now. I was talking to
Guadalajara.
he's one of the southern states. I just can't remember which one now. But he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I shoot everything with 9 stops. I thought, everything? That seems a little bit excessive. We usually shoot in around 3. But
that might be the guy that just goes through and doesn't, like I was saying before, you just set it once and you just get every shot the same way, and you discard the ones you don't need later because you don't want to mess around with.
Well, not even that though. So here's one thing that we can do, and this is what I keep on finding, is that if you really want to make this the couch potato lazy way of doing it, right here, if you set this at say 7 stops with 0, -2, -4, plus 2, plus 4, -6, plus 6, that range there will cover everything.
So you mean, now you're talking 7 shots, and you're covering a dynamic range of about how many stops? 12, 14?
You've got 12 at least there. But once you've got this, one of the things that happens is that this 7 shots for this here is going to be overkill. It's absolutely going to be overkill. But 7 shots from here, if you want to see outside this window, may not be overkill. So the thing is, when you've got this set up already, and you keep this same setup, so you go 7 here, 7 here, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. Now guess what? As long as you're metering it here as your meter, so you make it so it's like 1/100th of a second at f8 ISO, I don't know, 200, whatever those settings are, and you do this, you actually don't have to change your camera settings at all when you're going around here. So you set it up, click, move it, compose, click, compose, click.
Right.
And that's how you can get through this entire place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you got 9 shots here. And if you were to take, say, 10 seconds per, that's 1.5 minutes.
And that's a lot of shots. When I'm thinking about doing a house fast, I'm thinking there's 1 or 2 in every room only. So you're talking about accomplishing even a lot more than that just in 1.5 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's a bit what I was describing as just cover the dynamic range. It's probably overshooting it, but that's okay, because your first order of business is to get out of that house fast, and that does mean you'll need to take a little more care, or a little more time. I call it culling the images. Like you'll remove the ones that are completely black and completely white because you don't need them.
Well, you don't need them, but Ron, one of the things that I love about Photomatics is that I've found that if I put in, so say this is completely black and useless. Say this is completely black and useless. This is too white and useless. This is too white and useless. Even if I put in all 7 of those into Photomatics, I still get an image that is roughly the same as if I just put in those. And so because of that,
from my insider point of view, where I ask a lot of questions and stuff, no, it's true. You can, and it'll probably be fine. So my quick advice is just that if you do see a problem with one, and you've done what Rob suggested, just go back and remove those ones, because I've seen it happen, and it's one of those technology things that I don't really understand why, but if you give it the completely black and completely white images, you could have a problem. So just go ahead and remove them.
Yeah.
But if it's working for you to do what Rob says and not cull them, like I was saying, then great. and that's a little bit of a segue to some of the questions we're getting about, like this one we get a lot, or something similar. Should I use an offshoot flash? Should I use a flash? And we can talk a little more about it. We'll stick around for a little while and talk about a couple of these things. But there are a lot of possible ways of shooting and a lot of possible ways of processing. And usually the ways of doing the post processing and all that is very much based on how you shot it. So there's no right or wrong here. In fact, we have a couple other questions about is natural light suffice? Yes.
Yes.
By all means. We've been doing it. I've been doing it forever. Some big number, I don't know, hundreds of thousands or whatever of real estate photographers are out there using natural light. You bracket for it and you capture all the range and you've got what you need. Is that the only way? No, it's a great way to do real estate photography. A lot of people add in, well, on the other end of the spectrum, a lot of people set up lighting to do it the other way. So they spend more time lighting it and stuff like that. And people say they get really good at it and they can do it fast. Okay, that's not me. But then there's also combining the two, which we can mention here in a minute, is using natural light and just using a flash for a certain purpose, like just to get a color reference, for instance. And it looks like Rob's setting up for another one here.
So one of the things is that when you have something like a room where I'm just using a kitchen as a simple one because, well, kitchens are quite simple. I usually run into
nice,
this.
By the way, that's pretty good.
Thank you. I won my art competition when I was in grade 2 because of my drawing skills. So here you can tell that from this side here, we've got blue light. We got daylight coming in, right? So we got daylight all around here, okay, lighting all this. And then you got your pot lights, and you got your really orange lights here.
Is that legal in Canada now?
Was that?
Is that legal in Canada now? Pot lights?
Pot lights? Good one. Nice. And then we've also got the hanging lights above that are all going to be adding in this orange lighting from up here as well. So we've got a slew of orange light. We got a slew of this blue light coming in. Here's the thing. You guys have probably seen these images where you take it and it's in HDR and it is a mishmash of orange and blue, and you're thinking to yourself, I can't. If I pull the saturation out of the orange, great, I'll do it, but it looks really unsaturated. But if I pull out the blue, then all the blue things over here. Like if I had a one of those like a beautiful blue pod that the designer put in there because they thought they would accentuate the whatever.
Half by pulling the audience is nodding right now. Yep. Blue and light. Yep.
Yep. As soon as you pull the blue out of here, you pull the blue out of there, and you don't want to be spending hours and hours and hours doing selective color grading because that's hours and hours. We're not being paid a lot to do real estate photos. Correct. We're being paid very, very minimally, and part of the problem with that is us, because our own we have this strange mentality that the only value that we have is based on a dollar amount, and because of that, what do? You find a way the competition does, and then you undercharge and you say, hey, I can beat that guy by 10%, and you go out there. Well, guess what? There's another guy that's coming up right behind you with less experience and cheaper gear, and that's straight out of high school or university, living in their parents' basement, that's going to say, hey, you know what? I can do it for even cheaper than that. And after a while, that price point of what you can charge keeps on going down, 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 down. And it's a really, really, really fast, slippery slope to the point where nobody's making any money and we're all poor. Sorry, that's just a little bit of my own rant. So instead of that, let's focus on quality. How can we increase the quality here? Well, here it is. There's two things that you can do here right away. For those people who don't want to use a flash to recolor anything, try this. Turn off the lights. Turn off all the lights and then just shoot it once. And all of a sudden, the only color temperature that you're getting in the entire place is going to be from the windows. Now, there is one problem with this. If all of a sudden you have a deep red hardwood floor here, that blue light is going to come from here, bounce off that, bounce up onto the ceilings and everything else, and make everything else a little bit more red. So you're going to have that color contamination. But if it's just carpet, you're probably going to be fine just shooting it without any lights on. Your camera on a tripod would be able to shoot this with just that. It will work. Okay, so I've got one person here that said, I was just about to ask you about an orange light. No, there was another question right before, something about, can you do one light? Yes, you can. How about this? In your HDR, if your first shot has a bounce flash pointing straight up, that bounce flash is now going to add more blue light, evening it out and adding flipping that scale, so it's not like half orange, half blue, but it's going to push it more to the blue side. And so, yeah, adding another flash definitely would help with that, because all you're trying to do is get it away from being like half orange, half blue. You want it so that it's going to be dominant on one side. So you can be dominant on the blue side and then have a little bit of the orange coming through, because that's all right. Right?
Yeah, I got distracted a little bit. I was trying to share a screen. A screen, and I got Apple popped up about 10 security messages. So.
Yeah, of course. So now, okay, let's get back to the other way that you can do this. So now, if you're shooting this in a way that is going to be, if you want it so that it looks absolutely perfect, and you don't want to use a flash, you can also shoot this at twilight. And twilight is going to happen at, let's see now, it is going to be around 20 to 50 minutes after sunset. And you can always Google what time sunset is in your area. And what you're going to be looking for is your place to be done where the windows are all blue, and you're going to be leading with just interior lights. Now, just to give you a sample of that, I am going to see if, again, like I said, I'm sorry, we're doing this kind of on the fly here.
We're so on the fly that, would you believe, I'm trying to share a screen because the computer's new, and I'm trying to share a screen, and in order to give permission, I have to restart this whole thing we're doing, so I can't do that now.
Okay, well, I'm going to do
It's horrible.
A screen share, Chrome tab, that one, share. Sorry, I hope you like my forearm there.
Did you, sorry, when I got really distracted, what I was going to try to show is your method of taking a flash shot that is only to get the color correct.
Well,
it's
you know what, for anyone that's wanting to learn about that, go back to one of our previous episodes where I go through all of that.
Yeah, we have done that, right, on the Photomatics Facebook page. Go click on the videos, and there's a lot of Rob. I was calling him Rob's Gems for lack of a better name. So he's got a lot of these, and he did demos on a great way to control the color in this situation. If you want to add a rather powerful flash with you, like in my experience so far, which is less than Rob, a regular speed light wasn't enough. So I had a more powerful flash to do it. But check those out and do some experimentation, because it's a really good method. It's a great method. It's a good method.
It will. And then, so Ron, if you don't mind just sharing that screen that I got up there for you.
This one? Like this?
Nope, not that one. The other one.
Yep, gotcha.
There we go. All right. So this shot here is shot no flash. This is shot at twilight. So this is around 20 minutes after sunset. And you'll notice now that the amount of blue light that's coming in from the outside is so little that all it does is it colors the window blue. But on the inside, all we're using is the interior tungsten lights. So now everything on the inside is color balanced based on whatever is on the inside. Now, this is a great technique, and it used to be when I first started out, this is all I would do. So I would do one shoot a night. I'd charge $325 a night to do this, but I was working every night. Canadian, yeah. So it's like, a couple pesos down there. But really, I was doing this every night. So I was doing one shoot a night, and it was enough for me to feed my family and get everything else going that I wanted to in my life and my business. Mm-hmm. And this technique, actually, you know what? There is a great photographer down there. I believe his name is John McNeil. And John McNeil was the guy that introduced me to this technique via a mutual friend of ours, John Sharp, who is unfortunately no longer with us. We lost him due to some heart conditions a few years ago, unfortunately. But John McNeil and John Sharp, they helped pave the way for all of this information that I've got that I get to now pass on to you. And John was always one of those guys that said, once you've reached the penthouse, send the elevator down. And so we're always doing that. We're always sending the elevator down, hoping to get more people and helping everyone out. And so those are my techniques those are my recommendations for how to get a place done in around 15 minutes. Okay?
I like it. This is one of them. I thought you would want to bring is the twilight, because I learned this from you. I never really thought about shooting interiors at twilight, because to me the twilight shot typically means the exterior, And, but those ones that you did. Those ones that you show are, they're very nice. I mean, the feel is a little different, but I think it's...
And for some places, it's actually better. So, like, I've often done this where I've said to clients, like this one here, this looks great at night. But during the day, this place out here, that's a construction site.
Oh, wow.
Right? But it doesn't feel like that. And we also had enough shots of this place where it was nice and bright and looked great. So we wanted to shoot it at night to give it that like warm, I want to come home to this place kind of feel. And same with this one. This campaign was done during the winter, and so they wanted to show what it would feel like to come home to a nice place in the winter. And bedrooms either or. This would have been a fine daytime or nighttime. But one thing that you'll notice with this place, notice the amount of color that's here. There's not much color, and because of that, it looked a little bland. And because I didn't want to add more color or tell the designer to add color, I just did it at twilight so that we got the blue here, which really then accentuates the amount of the yellow that little touch of yellow that's back there. Right?
I'd like to see if anybody could comment on this, if they're doing twilight interiors as well, and if there are any pros and cons with it. Because I know you're doing this in Calgary, right? Where it's where the views and things have a whole different level of value compared to here in the Bay Area, where it's all about your views.
Yeah.
So that's why I had never considered doing the interiors at twilight, but I'd love to hear other people's ins and outs and if they're doing that, because that's
And one of the things is that with my clients, I have a lot of them that say to me, like, if you look at any of my daytime ones, and you'll see right outside those windows, most of them are white in the daytime shots.
Yes.
You don't see anything outside. And my clients love that, because one of the things it does is it lets my clients use those photos in a variety of places. So this could be a show home that they shot in Calgary. And if it's a builder that goes across Canada, they could use the same photo in Markham, Ontario, in Victoria, in Vancouver, Edmonton, any other city that's out there, because it's not specific. But if all of a sudden in the window there's a beautiful shot of a valley with the mountains in the background, well, that's not going to work for some place that's in Saskatchewan or
Well, it's
in
funny.
San Diego.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm so used to I'm so used to having that exterior view be so important, but that it depends on the use for it. Like Rob's saying, like you're saying, Rob, is that what if what if that's distracting from the way the interior designer intended it, for instance, or it's distracting
Hmm.
from some architectural pieces, and maybe they don't want that. So
Well, that's true. Like,
that would be
and
great. It's easier.
well, in the Bay Area, yeah, you know what? Let's face it. Some of the places you're just selling the view. You're not selling the
Mhm.
house. You're selling the view.
Yeah,
And for that,
you can get a remodeled kitchen anywhere, but you can't get a view of Treasure Island anywhere, and you can't get a
exactly. And so because of that, yes, it makes sense to then showcase that view. But in a place like this, where the view outside is just a regular streetscape, or it's a construction zone, or it's a back alley,
Mhm.
uh, not showing the outside is actually going to be,
Oh yeah,
quite frankly, better. It keeps your
I,
focus inside, and it
yeah.
keeps you engaged inside. It makes you fall in love with what's inside.
I would say that's done strategic. I've done it strategically, and I'm not like every place I've ever shot has a beautiful view out every window, of course. So it's you would use it strategically. Very nice use of shadows there. Look at that. We had a question that for some reason it's not showing on the comments here, but on Facebook somebody asked if you have clients asking for I forgot the word he used, but like sun rays coming in, I think, or
The
light.
sun rays?
Yeah,
Yeah. Let me just do this. I'm gonna see if I can find one here.
I don't know if
Stop
I've ever been
that.
asked for it, but it's a really maybe we could do a little thing about how to create that either
That
with a
kind of look? Yeah, I get it all the time. And uh, if you want to learn how to do that and how to shoot for that, message me.
did how did so this one
Okay.
if that's if you're using the real light, which I doubt, then
Hey,
then bracketing would show it like you. One of the things that I like about using bracketing only compared to using flash is that you can use the real light and the way that it splays out in the room to a level that you want, where if you overpower that with flash to show it quote unquote correct, then
yeah,
you lose that. So there, I'm guessing your answers is you can create that.
very easily.
I have a feeling I know
And
what you did there, but it's good.
and I've got lots of, you know what? One of the things that I started doing and is I've had a few people ask me already. They're like, "Would you mentor me?" And I've said, "Yeah, no problem. Let's figure it out." But every hour that I'm away for mentoring somebody, I'm an hour away from being with my kids. So on that part, am I going to ask to be compensated for it? Sorry, yes.
No, don't be
But
sorry. Don't be sorry. It's
it,
valuable. This is like
so,
we.
but if anyone is interested in
You're
that,
already giving a ton of insider information that you've built up over years for free right now. So don't feel bad about that.
yeah. So if anyone is looking for me to mentor them, yeah, definitely DM me. You'll be able to find me. I'm at robmoroto.com, or you can reach me at rob@moroto.ca.
Rob
Um,
at Moroto. You don't have Rob at robmoroto.com?
no, you know what? I never set it up. I guess I should, but it just seemed a little redundant. I
And
couldn't
how
get
can
Moroto.com, so yeah.
um, hey, let's
Yeah,
in fact
sticking with my Canadian. Yes.
CA, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of kids and getting back to life, we should end here pretty soon. So let me just
Yeah, I
check
guess
for
so.
any.
We've been doing this for an hour 15. We always say that we're going to be doing this for an hour, and we always go a little bit over, and
It
I
always
take
goes so
fault at
fast.
that. Uh,
It always goes so
I'll
fast. It's
claim
always
blame.
we. I feel like we talk. We have between us and the commenters. It's just smooth. I love it.
Hmm.
I just thought I've been doing it, clients. I'm working night video, which is a lot of fun. I'm not sure what he meant. I think the
Yeah, the Twilight videos,
Twilight.
they're
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
You just got to get your, with when you're doing Twilight, one of the things that I recommend is that if, especially with the video one, is you send a checklist to your clients and say, hey, if you have any of those like eh, early 2000 to late 2000, 2000 or early 2010 curly compact fluorescent bulbs, just change them out to the new LED bulbs. And you can give, there's so much stuff online about how bad those things are because of the type of light that they create and all the health hazards that they have. And there's conspiracy theories about how they're giving cancer to everybody. Just whatever it is, scare your clients into getting rid of those and get the new LED bulbs. And you'll save yourself a whole lot of time color grading out green.
Do you ever get any pushback about that? Those were pretty expensive, right?
No, not these days. I
Yeah.
used to, but
I
now
I
people
replaced
are more than willing to change out light bulbs for
Okay,
a good
cool.
shot,
I replaced a
especially when you
bunch
tell
of
them,
I replaced a bunch of those long fluorescents for
yeah,
LEDs, and they were, man, I think they're like $75 a piece or something like that.
oh geez, yeah.
But this is a
No,
couple of years ago.
my clients are pretty good because for some of my clients I tell them it's like, yeah, sure, we can do that, but if you've got into the combat fluorescence and you want me to Photoshop that out, it's going to be $20 a photo.
Yeah,
And all of a sudden, I do the math, and it's like, oh, wait a sec. Each light bulb is $2. I should just change the light bulbs first.
yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
they're pretty good about that. All right.
So
So,
I'm just
uh,
going through here, checking for any other comments, and I don't see. So yeah, looking good. Anybody that's still on? Yeah, people are still with us. I'll put a link
all
to
right.
join. We have a Facebook group to try to we can follow these things up later or anytime. Really, ask the group. I'll add a link in the comments so that everybody that commented will get it because I forgot to announce that at the beginning. But at any rate, we're back after a little layoff, and so we're just getting the kinks out. Um,
Mhm.
uh, I think hopefully we'll do it more. I am settled in. I have an office that now that I had to move recently in case anybody cares, and I'm settled in. I'm plugged into my fast internet connection. Shouldn't have these problems. So uh, we'll do some more of these if we get the request for it. So just let us know, and you can find Rob Moroto right there. .com. Didn't really introduce us at the beginning, did we? But I'm Ron with the Photomatics team. Ron Pepper. I'm in the Bay Area, and reach out to us here. I forgot all the details I'm really supposed to say out loud. So uh, join the group if you want to ask questions.
Yeah. Let us
Send us
know.
direct messages. Yeah, and yeah, I I think I think it's time to say goodbye.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you again. It's been a lot of fun. And again, if you guys have any questions or would like to uh, need help with anything, hit me up. Just find me on Facebook, Instagram. We'll go from there.
Yep. And I'm pretty involved where everyone's watching right now. It's on the Photomatics page. I'm pretty involved with it. So if there's questions, I'll usually see them. And if you want me to see them for sure, then just say, send us to Ron. And you can also find support at hdrsoft.com too, as if you have questions about Photomatics, like I get the photography questions. So if need some advice on bracketing, something like that, I can help with it. There are really good tutorials on the website too. There's a tutorial for interior real estate specifically. That's a really great place to start too. It really goes you through takes you through detailed ways of finding how to set up and decide on what bracket thing to use and all that. So that can be helpful too. I can point you toward it, or just you'll find it on the hdrsoft.com webpage. Okay, we're rambling here. So thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks, Rob, and see you next time.
All right, take care.
Ciao. Ending broadcast there.